So obviously the pressure was hectic. I mean, him being a foreigner and talking a lot of trash on South Africa and cursing out South Africa. I mean, the people take that personally. I never took it personally. For me, it's all business in there. No matter if you're nice or not, I'm gonna do the same thing. I want to try and beat you. Yeah, so my second shot at middleweight gold was also my first shot at making history, really making big history in the UFC of becoming a double division champion. So obviously I moved down to welterweight and literally I defended my welterweight title after winning it against Martin, against the Hosha. And the day after I defended that belt, Graham phoned me and said, listen, because before that I beat Rafael Hartek, who was the #1 middleweight contender. And they said, listen, we want you to fight for the middleweight belt. Are you keen? I said, most definitely. That's what I wanted. I wanted to fight for that double belt. And I mean, that was literally 24 hours after my fight. So I was like, yeah, just give me when do you want to do this? And they said, okay, we want to do it in August. I was like, that's perfect. Give me a month or so to just relax and recover everything and then start building. So I was quite a small middleweight. I wasn't walking around middleweight. I was actually a welterweight at the time. And Yannick being the behemoth that he is, it was a crazy fight. And obviously before that, Michiel fought him. And yeah, it did have an influence on my preparation for how Michiel fought him. But it didn't really have on how I would approach a fight. That's not how I fight. But it did show us something about Yannick, that yes, Yannick is a very big guy, and when he gets the hold of you and he's on top and he's dictating the fight, he's very imposing and he's a scary guy. But if you don't respect him like that and you just put the pressure on him, he can't handle that pressure and he doesn't like to get punched. So that was my game plan as well. That's one thing we did learn from the Michiel fight. Obviously he beat my teammate David Bursky. And yeah, I mean the whole Yannick saga, the whole time he was in the UFC, he tried to be this bad guy in the UFC, and me being the golden boy in the UFC, it was a big fight. It was probably the biggest fight in the history of the UFC, I would believe. And yes, I mean he just came in and he hyped the fight. He was really a disrespectful little prick actually in the fight. But no, I saw him afterwards and he was actually a nice guy. Was he humbled or was he just putting on a character? I'm not sure. But I guess if you go in with that kind of attitude, you have to put on a performance. So when I signed that fight, the build up to the fight, everything was just massive. And this is the first time in my career I stepped into the arena where literally every single person in that arena was rooting for me. So I'm used to being the favorite, but I mean, there was literally no person in that arena that was rooting for Yannick. I was by far the favorite. It was the first time ever there was no single person in there rooting for the other guy. It was only me. So at that time he was a double promotional champion, BAMA and UFC champion. So it was a big deal for me, a big step in my career to beat someone like that, and obviously making the history of becoming a double division champion, and finally realizing that the dream of getting the middleweight belt was the first time I came short in fighting for that belt. So there was a lot of riding on that fight for me, and what better guy to beat for the belt than Yannick Bahati that the whole country hates. So, I mean, the fight started immediately. I started putting on the pressure immediately with big punches, just going forward, and I made him miss one punch and I caught him on the eye, and his eye started, I cut his eye with, like in the first 10 seconds, I caught him with a big uppercut, and after that big uppercut, I saw him going backwards. I immediately saw him being rattled because of that big shot. And I just put on the pressure, next shot he missed, I caught him with the straight, cut his eye open, and I could see his eye really bothering me. He immediately started touching his eye, and I was just like, this is it. Like, put on the pressure like we trained, do exactly what, you've seen this before with Michiel, I've seen that. Just, put on the pressure, and I put on the pressure, and I knew that with the stand-up I had the advantage because I was faster, and I know I'm a physically strong guy, even though I wasn't as big as he was. And his takedowns were a bit sloppy. Like, he would come in, put his neck under your arm, just pick you up and slam you down, because that's the way he does it. And I was preparing for that the whole time, catching him on the feet and then getting him to shoot. And I didn't believe it would happen so soon. I thought maybe the second round he would start shooting, looking for the takedown, and next moment he missed a few punches and he just shot for a takedown. It was almost like instantly that choke. When he shot to a takedown, I had to choke on immediately. When I had it, I knew I had it. I fell in a pretty awkward position. That's not really a position where you can finish that choke. but my arms were so deep in that I was like, I can definitely finish this choke. Like I could feel the torque on his neck. The choke was on, even though I was in a position where I would usually let go of that choke. I was in mount, but not completely. And I could just feel, and as soon as I heard a noise coming out of his throat, like I could hear he was struggling to breathe, I knew, okay, I have something here, let's go. Because early in the fight I have a lot of strength, and even if it doesn't work, I can keep on it for like 30 seconds. If I gas my arms, I'll be ready by the second round again. Round's almost at an end. And I kept it, and then I could feel the torque really, as his neck started bending upwards, I could feel the torque really getting on it. And I mean, when I felt that tap, it was surreal. I mean, yes, this big lead up to the fight. I mean, I was preparing for a crazy war, and 2 minutes into the fight, I get Yannick, the black belt, is tapping everybody. I mean, his grappling is really phenomenal, and I tap him within 2 minutes of the fight. Yeah, I mean, that was crazy. I'm a white belt, just for the record. And yes, yeah, I mean, that was, no matter where my career goes, no matter what title I'll ever hold or whatever, that will probably be one of the most memorable nights of my life. It's just hearing that whole arena instantly. As soon as I had the choke on, everybody lost their minds. It was almost like I would have felt guilty if I let go of that choke, even though it was the right thing to do. People went ballistic. And as soon as he tapped, that whole place exploded. I sat on top of the cage holding 2 belts. It's just almost a night, no matter, it's been 3 years, but I'll never forget that night. I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was probably the most memorable fight of my career to this point.